Thanks everybody for calling in, and thanks for the three of you that are here visiting with us today in person. Well, Jacqueline and Yvonne are part of the co-creators of this whole thing.
Oh, I see.
Yvonne, Jacqueline, and I have been working for a while to figure out what to do as far as online help videos. We're going to talk about a few things, and it's going to go kind of fast because at this point I'm just assuming that what you need is a good overview, that many of you don't have access to the software, and if I were to try and give you any sort of detailed training right now, it would just kind of go in one ear and out the other. So we're going to talk about what are online help videos, what you need to do to get started, and what you do after you finish up a recording. Obtaining the recording software, we'll roll that. Sorry, say that again. Okay. Then we'll go through the training that's available online from TechSmith, the people that make Camtasia Studio. And then we'll actually go through a demonstration of creating a very short video. What are online help videos? What we're calling online help videos are videos that are going to be embedded in the PeopleSoft online help documentation. You'll include these videos pretty much the way you do links to the VFOs right now. We're going to record videos. You are going to record videos that are 2 to 5 minutes long. These videos are going to cover applications, features, implementation related tasks. So not necessarily just new features, but things that are going to be useful to our end users. So we want to really address the commonly reported customer issues. You're going to be in contact with the GSC folks to help with that. The important thing to consider is these are not a replacement for online documentation, for the online help. This is supplemental to. One of the biggest hurdles I think you're likely to have to overcome is you are going to want to try and include every bit of information in the videos, and you shouldn't. It really should just be a cursory view of how this feature looks and acts. We're going to create all of these using TechSmith Camtasia Studio. Before you start and after you finish, the best thing you can walk away from this training with today is the job aid link right there. Jacqueline has done a great job assembling a job aid that covers everything we're going to talk about in this training and in more detail. In order to get the software, you're going to want to talk to your manager. My understanding is right now Roland has got a limited supply of licenses available for people to use. So you'll need to talk to your manager, and your manager will prioritize the projects and who gets what when. Ultimately, I'm hoping within the next 6 months to a year, everybody will have a license, but I can't promise that to you right now. When you get started, once you have a video project assigned to you, you're going to have to work with Oracle support and product development sometimes. You're going to identify key areas, topics with customer issues or interests. All of these topics should be managed by your managers and assigned to you, but there's no reason you can't talk with them about it during the whole process. At the far end of it, once you finish something, what will happen is you'll hand your video off to a small group of people. Right now, that consists of myself, Jacqueline, and Yvonne. We will actually upload your videos to a YouTube channel, an unlisted YouTube channel, and give you a URL that you can then include in your documentation. Once you've got the software, there is a great training available through the TechSmith website. TechSmith is the manufacturer of the Camtasia software. They have some very thorough training right up front about how to use their product. If you follow that link at the top of the slide that we've given you here, you can find this training. They've got it broken down into several different sections. The first 2 sections are all we're really concerned about. Getting started, and on the right side of the screen here, you'll see there's 9 different videos that they've created. The first video in their lineup is not one that we need to complete anything that we're doing. If you want to take an extra 2.5 minutes to watch it, great. But be aware that the only things you really need to know are videos 2 through 9. Once you've got the getting started taken care of, you need to get involved in how to edit your videos. The second group of videos that they've got, there's a few more that we don't really need, and I'll talk about those in just a moment. These videos will talk about how to use the software and how to do the things we're asking you to do to create these videos. Notice the 3 that are kind of lined out on our list there on the right. We're not asking you to do any animations. We're not asking you to use markers. We're not asking you to do any green screen or removing a color or anything fancy like that. The other videos that are available on this are the ones that will be helpful to you. I've been through all of them. If you go through them a couple times, you'll find things that you didn't know you had missed the first time. So there's a lot of good information in these videos. Let's talk briefly about creating a video. There are 4 steps. The first most important step is you need to create a script. You need to create a document that illustrates all of the steps required to demonstrate your particular feature, step by step. You'll also want to make sure that you describe in detail the callouts and captions that you're going to add to your video. That process will take sometimes a week or two, sometimes a month. The next step is you're going to actually record the on-screen demonstration using the Camtasia Studio product. We're going to have one product that kind of does it all for us. Then you'll create the video project and edit the video demonstration within Camtasia Studio. You'll produce your final video from that, all done within Camtasia. Let's talk about each of those steps a little bit. Creating a script, as I said, is extremely important. A good script is going to go through and step by step, it's going to detail all of the motions that you need to go through to create your demonstration. It's also going to list any visual effects, any zoom in, zoom out, any pans, anything that happens in the editing software. Finally, it's going to describe what's happening on screen. And that's actually kind of the way the script is built. There's a template on the job aid page that you can download. And the first column is the screen action column. What you're going to do there is you're going to add, step by step, exactly what you're going to do to create your demonstration. So it'll include the URL that you're going to, the login information, what data you're going to enter to create your demonstration. The second column is what will happen when you're editing. If you need to identify the importance of a field or a page. So you're going to list any callouts and explanation texts. If something needs to be blurred out or what have you, you'll list all of that in this video column. And then the final column is where you're going to enter captions describing what happens on screen. The reason that we're adding captions is actually for the hard of seeing people that might watch our video, because their screen readers will actually read the captions and take them through what the contents of the video are. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a little while. Let's talk about recording your demonstration. Let's actually go through the process of capturing and doing a little bit of editing on a video. Right now, Yvonne has a browser open. She's already logged into the system. Do me a favor, Yvonne, and if you would minimize your browser screen for just a moment, go to your desktop. Okay, and check the resolution on your screen. Now, we're using a projector here in the conference room, so our screen resolution has been forced into something that we don't really want. Ideally, you want a widescreen resolution. The default resolution for Yvonne's machine is 1600 by 900. That would be great. 1280 by 720 would be another good resolution. Basically, anything you can get that's larger than 1280 by 720 is what we want to go for. We don't want to try and pin you down to one specific resolution because everybody's computer appears to be slightly different. Anything bigger than 1280 by 720 is where you want to go. Other things you need to be aware of. When you start recording, you want your screen just as clean as you can make it. So you really should get rid of all of the add-ons to your browser. Generally hit F11 and you'll go to full screen. That should take care of everything for you in your browser. From within Camtasia, what you'll do is you can start the Camtasia Studio Recorder. And it'll look like what we just saw on the screen there. When you click the record button, it'll give you a 3-second countdown before it starts recording. What Yvonne's going to do today is we're going to go to a manager dashboard. And once it loads, we're going to find an employee and go to the actions for that employee. And we're going to give this employee a raise through the compensation and stock link. We end up on the ad hoc salary change page. We add in the extremely generous raise that we're giving to this employee and calculate and submit. Now that's basically the demo that we have recorded. That's, if we had created a script, the script would have detailed each of those steps for us. So now, once we finish, we can press F10 and we'll get to this window, and it'll actually start replaying what we just recorded. You don't need to go through and sit through all of it if you don't want to. You can just go ahead and click on the Save and Edit button. Save the file. Notice the extension is TREC, TREC. Then we jump into Camtasia Studio. Yvonne, don't do anything else for just a moment. Okay, there are three basic areas on the Camtasia screen. In the upper left, that big white space is sort of your tools area. Right now it's set to the clip bin. Anything that you bring in as far as graphics or video or sound or anything is going to end up in the clip bin in that upper left window. But there are other tabs. Go ahead and click on the library tab real quickly. So you can see there are other tools available and then callouts. Okay, so there's different tools available in the upper left screen. In the upper right screen is your preview window. Basically, that's going to give you a look into what you're doing, what you're editing, what it's going to look like in the final process. The bottom of the screen is your timeline. This is what you're going to be spending a lot of your time in as far as just making sure you've got the right content, adding in the various pieces to the timeline, cutting out parts, or adding new information to it. So the first thing we're going to want to do is we want to add the introductory screens. So we'll provide these to you. It's something that can be imported into your Camtasia Studio program. So we've got a canned opening that's going to be in front of all of our videos. It's very simple. You'll just add a title to it once you're ready to go. Once you've got that in there, I think we need to add about 5 seconds to the beginning of this. So we're going to click on the main video clip that we just recorded, and we're going to right-click on it and then extend the frame by 5 seconds. Now, an extended frame is literally just a screenshot of whatever the first frame or the last frame of your video clip is. So it's a static shot that will stay there for whatever time you tell it to. Then what we're going to do is we're going to add a call out. Actually, we're going to blur the whole page. So we select the blur call out and drag it down. And we don't want it to cover up the opening information, so we slide it slightly. And then in the upper right, in the preview window, those dots basically outline the shape of the callout that we've just added. So Yvonne's going to make that go to full screen on our video. So the whole screen is blurred.
So Dave, why you use this callout? What is the purpose of the callout?
Okay, the callouts, because the videos are not narrated, in other words, you will not have to record any voiceovers for this. Go ahead and add the text callout, Yvonne. Because you won't have to record any narration for it, everything has to appear on screen. So the callouts are there to basically tell the viewer what you want them to pay attention to. So why is this field important? Why are we doing it this way? That sort of thing. Yvonne's got a number of cheat script text available that she's copying from. Changing the size on the video slightly so it fits a little better in the square that she wants to create. And then just centering the text on the screen. So this is the initial sort of just, you've already given the viewer a title, an introduction, and now we're just saying, okay, here's the overall purpose of this video. And it's done in 5 seconds. Now, next thing, what have you got recorded, Yvonne?
We forgot to clip out the navigation.
Okay, let's do that now. Just starting from your extended frame is fine. So we're going to select an area. Now, you might have noticed that when we clicked on when we went to the manager dashboard, it took a little while for that page to load. So what we're going to do is we're just going to clip out that amount of time that was spent loading. So we can get rid of that just by highlighting it with our playhead and then clicking the cut button or hitting delete key if you want to. And it's gone now. And so then we'll go through the rest of the process here. Again, in the demonstration, we went through, selected an employee, and went to a page to give them a raise. Now, that there was also a fair amount of loading time involved in getting to that page. We can cut out anything that has, like, would normally be wait time or an hourglass. You can just clip all of that and make your video a lot more concise.
So I just split the screen so that I can add another extended frame to introduce the page. So we'll extend the frame for 5 seconds again, so that we can add a call out.
All these columns are predefined.
Yeah, we've got, in the job aid, we talk about the callouts that we want you to use. We actually highlight those in a graphic in the job aid. Because there are so many callouts, we want to try and keep some consistency in our videos. So we try and limit you to just a handful of, I think, 4 or 5 different callouts, depending on what you need to do. Basically, we've got a square callout for just text that needs to come up on a screen. We've got the callout that's highlighted right now for if you're pointing to a specific field or area. And then we also will allow you to do the blur, as we just did earlier. And then there's one more that we'll show you in just a second here. And it's a spotlight callout that Yvonne's using right this second. Basically what the spotlight does is it sort of darkens an area except for just the area on the screen that you specify. So she wants to make sure that the viewer pays particular attention to this spot on a screen, and then we'll add a callout on top of that that specifies notice what this amount has done, that sort of thing. So if you add a highlight, generally you're going to add a call out to the screen. Call outs are going to be the tool you use 95% of the time to bring attention to an area on screen, that sort of thing. One important consideration when you're talking about various call outs and the things that you're adding on. Notice that in the track display down below on the bottom portion of the screen that we're showing you, we've got track 1, track 2, track 3. Track 1 is the recording that Yvonne recorded to begin with. Track 2 and track 3 are the different callouts and things that you've added to the screen. The order of these is important because the viewer is going to see things essentially from the top to the bottom as far as you're concerned. So as an example, Yvonne, could you put the playhead? Yeah, right there is fine. So what you'll see up in the preview window is you've got the little spotlight showing you the area that we wanted to people to pay attention to, and the call out telling them why that's important. If you would, go ahead and drag that spotlight up above. No, it didn't go. There you go. Okay. Notice that if we change the order of them, so in other words, the spotlight is above the callout, that callout is now virtually, I mean, you can tell there's something there, but the text is blurred. There's no way to actually see what's going on with that callout. So the order of the way things appear in your tracks is important. So be careful as you're doing that. If we put it back, then we're good to go. Okay, we're good. So, all right, so go ahead and save that if you would, please. So, always good idea to save early, save often. And notice that when you're in, there's a difference between your recording and the project that you're working on. When you first make your recording, it's saved as a TREC file. When you're saving your project, which includes all of your callouts and all of the things that you're doing, it's saved as a camproj file. Two different things. Go ahead and then, so it's been very simple. We've sort of glossed over a lot of things, but let's go ahead and produce a video. So if you click on produce and share.
One last thing.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Just give an indication of the captions.
Captions. Thank you very much. As I said earlier, we want to make sure we include captions with all of our videos so that screen readers can actually follow along with what's going on here, with what we're doing in our videos. If you would, please click on the captions option. So in the tools section, once you're through with your video, once you've kind of got it all laid out and all the callouts put into place, you'll need to add captions describing for these viewers what's going on screen. Most of the time, that can be accomplished by go to XYZ page and then essentially put in the contents of your callouts. Because unfortunately, screen readers don't read the callout text. What they can read is the captions that we're including at the end. So you'll notice that the caption, as Yvonne has typed it in the upper left, appears on track 4 in the lower portion of the screen here. So that little caption comes up as a callout as far as you're concerned. But it is a specialized callout because it's caption. Once you're through with the video, once you put all of these captions in place and decide how long each of them are on screen, you'll produce your video. And producing your video, what we're going to have you do is just go into Produce and Share and select MP4 only. It's going to be a 720p file, so that's the 1280 by 720 resolution. And we're just going to produce the MP4 file. We're not going to produce the player or any of the other things like that. Go ahead and click OK. And make sure you know where the file is going to go. And it may take a few minutes. Your videos that are going to be in the area of 2 to 5 minutes long may take as long as 5 or sometimes 10 minutes to produce, depending on how complex you got with things. So it's going to take a little bit of time, but not really onerously long.
Can I ask a question?
Sure, go ahead.
How long, and maybe not so much for you, David, but how long do you think it took Yvonne and Jacqueline for you to feel like you were ready to actually do one? I mean, in terms of getting up to, how long would you describe the up to speed time? Like, what percentage of time was that?
Oh gosh.
Oh, just 7% of my time actually getting ready and getting trained.
How much did you say?
70% of my work time.
70? Okay, 70 of them most time. Okay.
Yeah.
But
Probably, and I think the best way is to actually start doing one, because then it's like, oh, how do you actually do this,
I'll let you know that the first video you work on is going to be awkward. You're not going to ultimately like what the video is, but it'll work just fine. And it's going to take a while for you to get comfortable with it. The second video is so much easier to do and so much better. There's a magnitude of increase in quality between the first video and the second video for anybody.
So even how about you installed the Camtasia on the laptop or different?
it's installed on the laptop.
So the RAM size, system requirements are fine, right? The RAM size.
Yeah, it seems to be fine.
Yeah, so the question basically is, this is the Camtasia Studio is installed on the laptops that Yvonne and Jacqueline and I are using, and we've just got a standard configuration, and the system seems to handle that just fine. We're not overly taxing things. Right now, I would say that the videos we're going to ask the information developers to create is sort of on the low range of what Camtasia can do. On the other end of the spectrum, the live interviews that I've been recording are recorded as MOV files and are an hour long, and those really bog down my system. It's still possible to do it, but it's painful sometimes. So for what we're doing, the sort of screencast type videos that we're going to be creating, the systems ought to work just fine. There really shouldn't be any significant overload with what we're trying.
Yeah, these are small. We don't have audio on these either, so the files are relatively small.
Yep. Go back into Camtasia for just a moment, or did you close it?
No, it's still there.
Okay. Okay, so once you finish, now we just had you produce just the MP4 file. The next step would be to go back into your captions and click the Export Captions button. And save your captions as an SRT file. An SRT file is really nothing more than just kind of a glorified text file. It just happens to have the content of your captions along with a time code next to each of those captions. And what we can do is, once we want to import this into YouTube, if you give Yvonne, Jacqueline, and I your MP4 file and your SRT file, we can upload both of those into YouTube and link them together. And you should have just seen Yvonne just complete the exporting process in about half a second. So it's very fast, very fast. That's all we've really got to show you as far as creating these videos go. It can be very simple. It can be somewhat tricky, just getting used to the interface. But it is very doable. One of the reasons we chose Camtasia Studio is because the learning curve is actually fairly low on picking this software up. It has all the things we need it to do. It's actually a fairly powerful video editor, but it's not anywhere near as complex as Adobe Premiere Pro or some professional level video editor. So it should really do everything we need it to do. Does anyone have any questions on the phone?
Yeah, Dave.
Yeah.
It's Mary Lou. Can you talk a little bit about why you're showing this to us now, and when I don't have a license, and how soon we're expected to start doing any of this?
Because it was convenient for me.
Okay.
No. We're doing it now just so that everybody gets kind of a heads up and there isn't a whole lot of nervousness about what the process is going to be. So you know what needs to be done. The other sort of portion of your question there is we do have at least a dozen people that are going to be getting licenses within days, if not the next week or so. And they will need to have this information. So I guess the thought was we'd prefer to have the information in your hands ahead of time, rather than waiting until after everybody's got a license and we've had half the team already create videos.
Any chance there's going to be a machine with a license that we can kind of hook into and play with before we have our own?
I don't want to guarantee that to you. If we can set something up, I'll notify everybody of that. But we've tried something similar to that in the past, and it's been a little clumsy.
Okay. One last question, and that is, when I'm and this may not be a question for you, but the idea of having a database in which I can actually make and save changes in order to record. Will we have dedicated databases, or we're still...
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. The databases are something that you and your subject matter experts are going to have to work on. The demo environment, the demo web that's out there is something you can use. Up to now, any databases that we've used have been either specified by development, product management, or one of those folks.
So we have in-house.
Okay.
Yeah, we have our own environments.
Yeah.
Okay, there
So
we go.
we have our own environments, so getting in touch with Ragu and just asking which environment has the appropriate build and can be used to make changes and to record. I kind of went through a little bit of a similar process with requesting it as the curriculum environments. So just something to compare it to.
Suppose if you take HR 92, so if we deploy on 1 million the URL can be used by multiple people, right?
Mhm.
You can access the URL locally and then you can record.
You can access the URL, so multiple people can work on one VM at the same time using the URL. I suppose if you're working in a similar area, you might want to coordinate with the other person to make sure you're not changing information.
Rather than working on different components, I think.
Yeah, different components should be fine.
Okay, does that answer your questions, Mary Lou?
Yes, thank you.
Cool. Anybody else?
Yes.
Yeah,
Hey,
Dave.
Oh,
Oh.
Go ahead, Monique.
Okay, thanks. Dave, I was going to ask, are we going to be inserting links to these files in our documentation? And if so, are we going to have special tags, or are there guidelines for when and where to insert these links?
The links will be inserted the same way you insert links for VFOs now. I understand that Jessica does have a mechanism to create durable links for each of these URLs that you'll insert. As far as the procedure for exactly how to put them in and where to put them in, Yvonne, Jacqueline, anybody?
I can't do
I
that.
have to look it up.
Go ahead.
So there's two different ways to do it. Either way should use the durable URL instructions, which I believe right now are on the pre-production wiki. So you can insert a media element anywhere in a topic and insert an extract in that, and that will be in line in your topic. We also have added a media tab, we've added a media tab to the product line navigation page where we want to list all of the URLs to all of the video online help and VFOs for a product line so that customers can just go there and find them all in one space. So you can have it on the media tab and also in a topic, or you can have it just on the media tab. But if it's in a topic, we also want it on the media tab. And the instructions are there, and it's just maybe pointing everyone to the instructions. So I don't know if now is a good time to notify people. I can send it out, or I can send it out later, closer to the time that you'll be doing it.
Could be added as a link.
Yeah. We can add it to the job aid. So Jacqueline will add that link to the job aid so that we have all the information in one location.
Cool.
Okay.
That'd be
Okay.
great. Thank you.
Hey, and speaking of the job aid, Dave, the PDF is a great resource, but none of the links in it are live.
Right.
It's live.
Right.
We can't copy the text out of it.
Okay, I will send out the PowerPoint file. We'll send out an email with the links specifically in it within the next 2 hours.
Okay, great.
Anybody else?
Hi, Dave. This is Rich. I do have a couple questions.
Okay, Rich first.
So I do have some narration with some of my videos, and I was wondering, could we have any audio setting recommendations on the help page?
Rich, you and I should talk about that offline, because for the online help videos, there will be no audio added. Anything you and I talk about will basically be wasting everybody else's time right now. So let me contact you separately on that one.
Okay. Second question was, I was playing around with Camtasia the other day, and it seemed to have some kind of freeze-up issues, and I was wondering if you encountered that, especially with larger files.
Yeah, I mean, Camtasia Studio sometimes has issues when the files get very large, when your project gets very complex. For most of these videos, in the 2 to 5 minute range, no audio, just a few call-outs, I don't expect you'll be having many of those problems. Fortunately, Camtasia Studio, even though it may freeze up on you or may bomb out in some instances, it's very good about saving a file, and if you restart Camtasia, it'll tell you, you've got a file that we're working on that wasn't saved. It ended unexpectedly. You probably will lose maybe 5 minutes worth of work, if that. And that, again, I want to emphasize, that's on files that are generally much longer than you'll be dealing with for these online help videos. Next.
Dave, I was just going to say with the issue with the links in the PDF, I've run into that doing the working on the release notes, and if you generate the PDF using Save As and then choose PDF as the format, that may resolve the issue.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
Dave, is there, once I have my Camtasia license and have Camtasia, is there a practice recording, something that I can do that's sort of like the demo that I can step through and try to recreate the finished product?
Only if Yvonne makes one.
I thought we had one.
Oh, do we have one available?
Yeah.
Okay, is there a link to that through the part of the job aid? Okay, so what the inside joke that Yvonne and I are tossing back and forth here is Yvonne did create basically the demo that we showed you in this training. Jacqueline set up, just created a CamProj file that has the raw recording, and there are some instructions that go along with it to tell you sort of what edits should be made to this video. Once you get a copy of Camtasia, you can import that CamProj file and open up the instructions that Jacqueline created, and you can do kind of your own demo video safely, knowing that you're not going to screw up something that you actually need to have for work. That's available through the job aid as well. Okay, if nobody else has any questions, we're going to shut this down. I am going to send out an update that has all the links to job aid and the TechSmith resources that I talked about. And if you have any questions in the future, as I said, you don't have a Camtasia license yet. Hopefully you guys, a number of you will have in the next few days. As you get into those licenses and start doing things, feel free to contact Yvonne, Jacqueline, myself, other resources that you can tap. If you're in India, Linu Kanil is available in the Trivandrum office. He is great. Rosemarie Hitchens is also available to help. So there's a number of us that are out there that can help you if you have a question, if you get stuck. Feel free to ask. With that, thank you very much, and I will talk to you later.